Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of Midweek Matters. I'm James Graham and again, as usual, joined by Charlie White, whose level of paranoia is through the roof.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. A bit paranoid because you just got a little look in your face today like you got a bit of stuff on me, but I'm ready for it anyway.
No. It's you, mate, you've come in and instantly, what's wrong with my hair?
No, that's the biggest load of bullshit.
What's wrong?
Right.
Is my hair okay?
Yeah.
I've just got out the shower. Is it okay?
True.
You've asked me if it's okay.
True.
You've asked Tony
That's
if it's
not true.
okay.
This is just a lie.
You asked Tony if it's looking okay on the camera. You keep
that's
playing
not true.
with it.
That's not
You
true.
keep flicking with it.
If you want to lie to everyone listening at home and in the car and driving around, that's fine. You can lie.
Making dinner.
I thought you were better than that. You know,
Charlie, why would I just make up that you've been asking everyone about your hair?
Because the real story is you said, "Oh, what's wrong with your hair?"
No,
you
I
asked
did
me
not
that.
say that.
And I was like, I don't know.
I
just
did
got out of
not
the shower.
say that.
But it's fine, mate. It's fine.
I know it's fine. Stop. You just
because you're getting a bit of heat online, mate. Just because everyone's bagging you over your Benji Marshall take, you got to come at me.
I wouldn't know if they are.
Well, they're coming for you.
Oh, right.
Pitchforks
okay.
at the ready. It's a mixture. It's a mixture.
Yeah.
It has made a lot of noise though. You bagging Benji going on holiday.
Well, it's just my opinion. Like, it doesn't mean I'm right. It's just what I think.
Yeah.
I think it is a bad look. It's just not something I've experienced before. You know, from my experience and how I view coaching is, it's a never-ending to-do list. So I don't know how you can go away during the season when you've got this never-ending to-do list that you will never ever complete. And look, perhaps there are benefits of going away. And I know I've been to places like the Google office, for instance. You go in there and it is insane. It is not set up how you would imagine it's set up, because it is a bit of, it's designed to maximize productivity, but it's designed in a very different way from your stereotypical office. So there are different ways of achieving results. For me, in the world of rugby league, it's not something I've seen from a coach before. And look, Benji was fast-tracked into the coaching role. So, nobody else has been a head coach with as little experience. Yeah. It just hasn't happened. Not in Australia or in the NRL. Most people have to do, say, a 3-4 year apprenticeship. Some go to England. This is
even longer in most cases.
Yeah. You know, the old days of player coach, like they would, I guess, they fell out of the game for obvious reasons. But for me, I think, you're always learning, and I just don't know if it's and also Benji knows that he worked in the media, so he'd know that this would be spoken about.
Yeah.
I have been thinking about, like, the funnier side to it, and for a lot of people, this will be absolute nonsense. But imagine if Eric Hitchmo was here. Be a bit weird, wouldn't it? What's that, Eric? You start coaching the Tigers, or you're just going to go away mid-season for a holiday? Well, you know what Eric would say, won't you? I don't agree with that in the workplace. I do not agree with that in the workplace. What's that, Eric? You've given up being the West Tigers head coach and now you're doing the Bulldogs wrestling session. Oh, someone stands up late. Eric, I don't agree with that in the workplace. I do not agree with that in the workplace. Do you not know who Eric Hitchmo is, Charlie?
Me, I don't know what you're talking about.
He talks exactly like that.
But I like
I'd
it.
never do anything about the wanking claw.
I actually agree with you though. I think it's bizarre you go on holiday. Like Cheese said, Craig Bellamy goes away. It's a completely different situation. Melbourne Storm pretty much always competing for a premiership. Craig Bellamy works his ass off constantly. Like if he goes to the Gold Coast or Coolangatta, wherever he goes for a few days, it's very different when your team's bottom of the ladder going to Fiji. It is.
Absolutely, it is. It's just not the done thing.
Nah, there's just too much to do there at the Tigers. Yeah. There's too much things that need to be done. They're going horrifically.
Look, and
they are the worst team to watch in the NRL by a mile. They've gone backwards from last year. When I see their games coming up, I just will not even want to watch it. It is horrible to watch them play.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm personally, I think there has been improvements from last year on a personal
I don't know.
opinion.
I think there
watching.
was, and then I think it's gone backwards. They started strong and then they faded away.
Yeah. Look, and this likely would have been a pre-planned break, but when you lose 8 in a row, I don't know if just down in tools and going away is the right thing to do. And look, people can say, you know, you need that fresh perspective and relax, but I've just not seen this by a coach and by going overseas. And like, I think most coaches in this circumstances, if that has been pre-planned, if they're 8 in a row losses, they cancel their holiday plans.
Yeah, and Benji's his own man. He obviously wants to do things his own way, but
it is, Charlie, and it's just not something that I would do.
Yeah.
Like, my family are going away in July for 3. I don't get to go.
Yeah.
I can't go. So that's me in different roles.
Yeah.
But it's not how certain people operate. So this isn't an attack on Benji. It's just his way of doing things and not how I would do things personally. I'm not a head coach, but I'm involved in other roles and I don't work that way. Like, so it's just, and I guess, look, Benji will live and die by his results. And if this is his way of getting at them, maybe in 4 or 5 years' time, we'll look back and go, wow, he was a real pioneer for how people in high stress positions operate. I know there's a big move for people who are like CEOs about taking time away from work to be prepared for that job, and there's a modern twist to it, but.
Not to get too dramatic about the Tiger situation, but obviously like Benji's taken over and things aren't going well. And you got to sort of think about that job, and it's such a hard job. Is it the right job for a rookie coach to come in with no experience? Like, maybe they would have been better off trying to get someone like Shane Flanagan. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll.
And it's still very early days.
Yeah, it's still very early days. And look, Shane Richardson's come in. I don't have an issue with him being in England. I do not. That is a work trip. I understand that you could do these things over the phone, but there is that level of presence, and there's a difference in having a conversation with someone over the phone or on Zoom or on whatever whatever you FaceTime, to actually being there present and actually getting a feel for the situation and just how more influential you can be by being there. Like, so if they've gone to sign players, I know it makes a difference if the CEO's made the effort to come and sign you rather than just negotiate with your manager and emails you a piece of paper and you print out pages 4 and 47 and sign them back and make sure you initial all the others, send them back to us. Like that, there's a difference.
Yeah.
So and then with moving players on, you can, like, it's all part of the power of persuasion sometimes, and you can do, and you sort of need to do that by being present. He won't be the only. I guess where people have an issue is that he's the CEO, and is that the recruitment manager's job? Well, they got rid of the recruitment manager, Fulton, and I think we spoke to Richo about how they've structured things differently, and Richo's a strong voice in that, and but ultimately he said it's going to come down to Benji, if I recall correctly. So look, it's one of those. Maybe we're making mountains out of molehills. Maybe he deserves a break, but it's just not how I would do it.
Proof will be in the pudding.
I guess we'll see, Charlie.
State of Origin, though, that is what's on everyone's agenda at the moment, and the Blues have gone to the Blue Mountains, or as they're calling it, Madge Mountain, or Madge Mountains.
That's brilliant.
I love it.
That's the sort of stuff I write.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
brilliant.
like it. You just said it. So
they're in the Blue Mountains, though. They're in camp now, and obviously Wednesday we're recording this, and they had one of their sessions today. Big news out of that, though. Nicho Hynes did not train, and Liam Martin did not train as well. So Liam Martin's dealing with the hammy, and Nicho Hynes is dealing with the calf injury. Obviously, these things are put under microscope during State of Origin, but concerning that Hynes isn't training, especially.
is it?
Yeah, it is.
This is for the headlines for the flappers, like you.
Well, no, mate, it's not. That's
flap
not.
and be like, oh, he's not training. Let's bring it up on a podcast.
That's bullshit. Oh god, that is bullshit because he went off against the Panthers and didn't finish the game because of his calf injury. Now he's not training because of his calf injury. It is a story, isn't it?
Exactly. He left the field for a HIA. His calf got tight. Management said he went for scans. They look better, but they're going to rest him for training. So yeah, I'd be more surprised if he was training.
No, but it's still a story that he isn't training because he's not.
The story would be, oh, geez, miracle recovery.
No.
I'm not surprised that he... Are you actually surprised that he's not training?
No, but it's concerning that he's not training because he's got to build the combinations because he's stepping into that Origin arena at halfback for the first time.
But he's got a sore calf.
Yes, but then when is he going to start training? If he's not training tomorrow, it's still a story. Until he trains, it's a story.
If he doesn't train by Saturday... I'd have issues.
Okay, well, why don't we do Nicho Hynes calf watch? I'll just call you every day and keep an eye on the training.
How does that sound? I love Origin. I love watching it. I love the hype, the genuine hype, but I hate some of the stories that come out. Like Harry Grant had a sniffle.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
But the headline of that is, illness rocks Queensland camp.
I know.
Rocks the Queensland camp. How are they going to respond? Grant's not training. It's running rampant. Grant's just probably got a little sore throat.
Yeah.
And he's just maybe feeling a bit tired.
Hopefully he's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, wear a mask. And all the Queenslanders that are in camp have to wear masks around. And yeah, maybe practice social distancing again. Maybe isolate. Do
you know a story that I hate, which is obviously being driven by the Doggies, your club, is about Matt Burton because he's 18th man not being able to play and it's impacted him the last few years. Well, tough titties because Matt Burton's probably the best 18th man option for New South Wales, so he can't play. Get over it. Get on with it.
Fucking hell.
Well, he's the best option for 18th man. He can play anywhere in the back line. He could probably even play on the edge if needed.
No, look, I probably tend to agree that I think with the way the 18th man can be injected into the game now, it is an important role with, obviously, if it's 2 HIAs, then they get activated. We saw actually last year, or was it last year's series when Nicho came on, the 18th man, which was
Matt Burton. It was Adelaide
could have came on in the centres, and arguably changed the course of history there. So I've got no issues with Matt Burton not being allowed to play for the Bulldogs. I mean, look, maybe you could look at it and go, what is the probability of the 18th man playing? You'd look a percentage on that, or the probability of that would be low, be less than 50%. I would hazard a guess.
2 HIAs in Origin.
Yeah.
Not that crazy.
Okay, it isn't that crazy. But then do you look and go, okay, with 7 teams on the bye, do you say, well, your 18th man has to be from one of those?
Why? It's Origin. We've got to pick the best players.
All right, I'm trying to problem solve.
Yeah, I know, but
all right,
that's
your
what the Doggies
counter argument
saying.
is like you've got to pick the best player for 18th. Well, fair enough. If that's how you want to roll, then that's what you do, and that's the rules now. So no one should be surprised by this because it was already the rules.
And also, I reckon Matt Burton wants to be 18th man for New South Wales. Like, I'm sure he wants to play for Doggies, but he's in that squad, and something happens early on where there's a foul play. HA could be playing a full Origin game. Wouldn't you rather risk that chance of playing a full Origin game to just miss one club game?
I would say yes.
Yeah. You could make the argument, which I think this argument's fair, is that the game's on Friday. Surely he can be 18th man by Wednesday.
Well, there is an intelligent argument from you for once, Charlie. So thank you for bringing. I'll let you have that. No, thanks, man. I'm speaking like taking it into consideration. This is not a new rule. No one should be surprised by this. It's just probably that if it affects your club, then you do get up in arms like, oh, let's really, you can't play. We're already missing, a fair chunk of first graders. Crichton's gone. Kick out missing through injury as well. So it sucks for the Bulldogs, and you just wish it wasn't happening to your team, but it is. And there's nothing you can do, and these rules were already in existence. So, but I don't like that when you complain about the rules after the fact. It's like we already knew they were happening, so do something about it then.
Yeah, and Matt Burton is the best 18th man option, so it is what it is.
Well, hang on, didn't they say if Hynes
is out. Luke Keary's going to come in.
Luke Keary's going to come in
the 19th man. I find that strange. I thought Burton would come in, but
would Luai go to 7?
Yeah, Luai will go to 7.
And Burton go to 6.
Yeah, they're all left-sided players as well.
Yeah.
But Luai's been playing halfback. Obviously, he's been playing on the left for Penrith. I don't know, it's tough. They really need Hynes to play. New South Wales.
They do.
He'd be a big loss. Just on the game though, we're a week out now, less than a week out. What are you thinking,
mate? Before the teams got announced, I thought Queensland. The teams got announced, I thought Queensland, and then now we've had sort of 3 to 4 days to digest it. I've convinced myself it's New South Wales, especially being at home.
Same.
And look, the benches that both coaches have selected fascinate me because they're both risky. They've both got a level of risk and a high level of risk. So New South Wales, and almost the selection of the benches could dominate the headlines post-Origin for 2 or 3 days, and then moving into the next team, the next squad announcement. How much will the impact of the bench change the makeup of the games 2 teams and games 3 teams? So I think that the coaches, they need to have the courage of their convictions and go, I made this decision to pick all 4 forwards on the bench because of X, Y, Z. So that is the right decision no matter what happens. No matter what. So if New South Wales lose a winger and then a halfback, we made that decision and that was the risk we were prepared to take. And we'll do the same in game 2 and 3. Same with Billy Slater. I believe that he was considering how Ponga could come onto the bench as well as Hunt/Grant. So he needs to have the courage of his convictions to go, no, this is why we did it. And I believe in this. And then maybe perhaps they'd be okay with, you know what, maybe we were wrong. Maybe it was more impactful than we thought it was. I think one of the things people keep saying is, well, what if an outside back goes down? Will Cobbo slot straight in? Well, what happens if a forward goes down?
Yeah, the rotation's a lot shorter.
Like, what if a forward goes down for Queensland? Like, they are struggle street.
The thing is, though, Lindsay Collins and Ruben Cotter can both play big minutes. They're big minute forwards.
They are big minute forwards, Charlie. They are. But I just don't know if that should be needed, because I think if you look at how New South Wales are going to play, there's a difference between playing 80 minutes and like excelling for 60.
Yeah.
You know, and no doubt that like, they're going to, if something like that happens, they're going to have to tap into that Queensland spirit more than ever. I think where Queensland have an advantage is probably in their kicking game. Like their kicking game is, you know, we talk about these battles through the middle, but with Grant and Hunt and Cherry Evans, like they're 3 really good game-changing kickers of the ball.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I think that's where we talk about how you can change momentum when you're under the pump. Those 3 players in particular can change a game with a 3rd tackle kick, with a 4th tackle kick. You know, New South Wales are going line speed, and one of them just step up, kick a 40-20. Or kick deep. Everyone's on the kick chase team, and all of a sudden you've front loaded all your energy into bashing Queensland, and you got to run back. And I think that it is probably an area that hasn't been spoken about.
Yeah,
that's a real strength of Queensland for me. Is their kicking from 9, and their Cherry Evans' long kicking game. So
it's one of the best in the game. His boot.
Yeah. And when Ben Hunt gets out at 9, or Harry Grant gets out at 9, they've both got a really good kick option. So
yeah, because DC's form in Clubland hasn't been that good, which I said last week as well. Yeah. But he will step up in this environment.
He's not the first Queensland player to be out of. Well, I mean,
he has been. I think he has been out of form by his standards.
By his standards, yeah.
But Manly have been struggling overall as well.
Yeah.
just let's talk about Reece Walsh for a little bit, because this could be a moment for him where he comes in and cements his legacy as like one of the best fullbacks in the game. I mean, he's already considered one of the best fullbacks in the game, but like his legacy of being one of the greats.
Did you speak about that? How old is he? Like 23?
He's young. Yeah, he'd be young. 23, 24, something like that. 20 or 21, Tony's saying. Wow.
Yeah.
21. Wow, scary. But this could really be a series where he cements himself as like, I'm going to be one of the greats.
Yeah, most definitely. Like his performance in last year's series was absolutely first class. We see what he does for Brisbane. The scary thing is he's still got improvement in his game. Like he's still got that experience of situation to come into play, and obviously he went through the highs and ultimate low of last season, which I think will drive him. It should drive him. I like Reece because most of the time he plays with a smile on his face. Like he looks like he enjoys the game, which is a real key component, I think, to longevity and wanting to learn. It doesn't look like a chore for him. And anytime, I think New South Wales last year went with a game plan to give it to him and bash him, and he took it with a smile. And it almost poked the bear a little bit. And I don't know if you should ever do that with people like him, because he, a lot of the time, will have the last laugh because he'll just outpace you and outskill you. So he's a phenomenal person for our game. We were there on Sunday, Charlie, and the scenes after the game, after bearing in mind the Broncos lost, it was pretty cool to see, right?
Mate, it was insane. I've never seen anything like it at a footy game ever. Everywhere he walked, there were kids screaming. If he waved at them, it was like a rock star was waving at fans. Like they just went crazy.
It was screams, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was screams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
the effect he has on people is pretty cool to see.
He's a good-looking rooster. He could be a model if he wasn't a footy player.
Yeah. Well, I think he has signed up to do some modelling.
Has he?
So,
yeah. He should be. He should be.
Yeah.
But no.
Noel Broman, who is coming on in a couple of weeks, should be very scared.
Absolutely. Although I think he's not. I don't know if he's a Lowe's man, Reece Walsh. I reckon he's more of like a G-Star, or is that still going G-Star? Armani, Chanel. Like he could really hit the heights of Australia.
Could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, what scenes after the game? I think there's probably a bit more responsibility on him as well. I think we've understated the loss of Munster. Like that's something as well that is maybe tipping me a bit more towards New South Wales. Like Cameron Munster at State of Origin just has that ability to turn nothing into something.
He's like Wally Lewis in the Origin environment. The way he steps up in the big moments.
Like he creates from absolute zero opportunity. Like you would look back at, if you watch some games, you go back, play the ball before, go, I don't anticipate a line break happening. And then it does. Like, it just something out of nothing.
Well, the moment that changed last year's series was obviously New South Wales were looking like they might win. An Adelaide game on, and Munster pulls off that play.
Down to 12 men.
Yeah, where they get that little bit of space on the left side and add nothing. Added absolutely nothing. He just crabs to the left and they score a try and win the game.
I don't know if another player can do that. I don't know if Reece Walsh could do that.
No.
Because he's probably more direct to the area, where Munster sort of danced his way across.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like
he did,
it's a different, you go from point A to point B. Reece Walsh should just get there as quick as he could. But with Munster, he like danced and made everyone guess along the way, which created the opportunity. Like he's a massive out. But again, the more we talk about it, the more we flip and we flop. It's going to be it's so hard to make accurate predictions. I mean, I think we'll probably have to come closer to the time next week. But
they've got to win New South Wales game one. Like, if they don't win game one, the series is over.
Yeah, they're screwed.
Yeah, you're not going to win game three.
And again, that's part of the pressure element and the pressure on Madge, the pressure on New South Wales, on Hynes, and everybody involved in that team. They've got to get it right from game one. It's not almost. The similarities between like penalty shootouts. I think you go first. You want that home. You want to kick first because it's a massive advantage. But for this, New South Wales, they have to win first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, if they miss the first pen or the first game, it's over.
It's over. Yeah, it will be a sweep, I reckon, if they lose the first game. The other thing then that's important is obviously, which you guys discussed, Tedesco's not been picked, so Jake Trbojevic steps up as captain. That's going to be great to see. And the other thing, just before we leave Reece Walsh as well, is he did say today that he wants to be a Bronco for life. So great news for the Broncos, because if you're building your club around Reece Walsh, you're going to probably be a contender.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing, football aside, I love that little bit of emotion that he showed towards Patrick Carrigan. And, like, he was welling up. And I think that the way you could see there was tears in his eyes. Like, that is, you can't manufacture that. You can't fake loving somebody like that and having that bond with a teammate like that. You just can't fake that. That's genuine feeling for another teammate. And Patrick Carrigan, who is, the skipper for the Broncos, who will likely be a dominant force for a long time. And then Reece Walsh, if they've got that bond, I think from teams that I've played in and teams that I've observed, those bonds are what gets teams over the line.
Ezra Mam and Reece Walsh are best mates as well. They're really close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're building a lovely club up there at the Broncos.
And also, it helps force people to stay together.
Yeah, and take less.
And take less.
Yeah, even though there is a lot of third parties in Brisbane, and they pretty much don't even have to abide by the salary cap because that's how good their third parties are.
Fourth parties.
Fifth parties. Let's talk about last thing on Origin then before we go to Clubland is obviously the Origin system chat comes up a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I think the system that I'd like to see would be 3 Wednesdays in a row. Just bang, 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 Origin. Yes, you take out the Origin players from the NRL for 3 weeks, but I think it would be the least impactful to NRL because obviously we've got a round of footy coming up now. This weekend, but no one really cares about it. It just all becomes about Origin, unfortunately.
I think people do care about it, Charlie. I really do. I think people do care about it.
With the same level of passion that they normally would?
No.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I mean. Like, it's taken away from it.
Of course, it is not optimally felt and there's not as much in the game because there's players missing. But to pause the competition...
You don't need to pause the competition. Keep the competition going. 3 weeks of NRL. It can happen while the 3 Origin games are going on. So, like, the players that play next Wednesday probably don't back up these days often.
Also, just have it Wednesday,
and then the normal rounds just carry on.
But then those players are still going to be missing.
Yeah, they'll miss 3 weeks of NRL. Rather than they'll miss, so the players playing Origin are missing this weekend.
Yeah.
Then a lot of them won't back up if it's a really intense game, which it will be.
Also, it impacts.
So I'm saying it impacts 6 weeks of footy anyway. Why don't we just have 3 weeks and keep the NRL just rolling? Like, we don't even need a bye round this weekend. We can just have a full round of footy.
What, we don't have to put out a show?
No, bye round carries on. Rain, hail, shine, 3 shows a week until Christmas.
Look, I don't mind that. I think, look, like rugby league in Australia and New Zealand, the NRL, it's the only competition that I am aware of that is impacted by an interstate competition that runs mid-season. So look at plenty of like soccer leagues in Europe. You've got your internationals, but there's no interstate games. And a lot of the time, football, soccer is a different game in terms of like the impact it has on you physically. You can play 2 games a week. They've got huge squads, rotation, and a lot of the better players, they get pulled out of international duty, and a lot of them are like friendlies anyway, so whatever. American sports, there's no...
It's always the off-season. Like for basketball, I'm thinking of. NFL doesn't have international. No. Baseball, it's very small.
But yeah, so I don't actually know of any other interstate competition that even goes above the international game that happens in season. So it's a unique problem, but it's also the jewel in our crown. Yep. Like it's what sets us apart from other, I guess, geographically constrained sports. So we've obviously got AFL in this country, only played in Australia. They don't have a problem of origin, but I bet they'd love to have it because it is so big and it dominates and generates so much. Like Gaelic football, that's probably another one, but then they don't have, like, that's geographically constrained to like Ireland. They don't have anything like that I'm aware of. But it's a good problem to have. How do we minimize the impact? I would just say, look, I'd keep it as it is, because in terms of the impact on the games, people still care, probably not as much. It's not as entertaining, but it's still bloody good quality. And also, in terms of the teams that it impacts, the best, for you go fast forward to September or October, the best 3 or 4 teams are going to be there anyway. So it doesn't have that much of an impact where you've got these teams that are like miss. When was the last time a team missed finals because of Origin?
I don't know, but there's obviously key injuries that have happened in Origin that then affects Clubland. But that's not what I'm talking about there. I'm more thinking it affects like the quality of the interest in the NRL.
Yeah, you could probably make a strong argument for it. It does impact the game, but also I think you've got to include Origin in that NRL chat. So ultimately, the interest in the game is higher because of Origin.
Yep, that's fair. But do you not think also if we did it over 3 weeks, the hype train would just get bigger and bigger and bigger over that condensed 3-week period? Where game one's crazy, then a week later we're getting game 2. Straight away we're getting game 2.
Well, then, you could argue the intensity would drop because it's a week-to-week proposition.
Well, from the players, you mean? They can't rise to that level? You'd know better than that than me.
Look, they do it in test matches, which is, again, very different. I don't know. We've got such a great thing happening. I get reluctant to tinker with it. I don't know how much we gain by bringing it a 3-week, week to week to week. Does the risk of injury increase because it's week to week to week? Like, do those bodies need extra time to recover? Now, I know someone will say, well, how can you say that? And then they go and play for their clubs on the weekend. Well, yeah, that is a fair point, but I get reluctant to change because nobody's ever come to the table with an idea that is absolutely flawless, or any idea that comes to the table then creates its own unique or different set of problems. So the idea of like pause the season for 3 weeks, well, that's great, but then you'd actually have to pause it for 4 or 5 to allow time to get ready. Yeah. Unless you played it on a weekend, which again isn't going to happen because of the TV network.
Doesn't rate as well.
Which again people go, well, you sell it's all about ratings. Well, a large part of it is. Yeah. Like, you have to consider that. Or, the pause of the season means if you want 27 rounds, 24 games for each team, you've got to take buys off them or extend the season. Then that impacts the international calendar at the end, or you start the season earlier and then player workload comes into it, and hey, I don't agree with that in the workplace. I don't know. I just get for me, it's working well enough that it should be left.
I like it. Okay, well, let's go to Clubland then, because there is a few things happening in Clubland. The big story today is Taylor May has pleaded not guilty to his domestic violence charges. What that means, though, is he's not going to be in court until March 2025. So he's out now for the whole season for them, which is a massive loss for the Panthers. Paul Alamotti, though, has been doing a great job for them since coming in.
Out for until next season, unless, I guess...
Well, mate, I mean, he'll miss most of pre-season. Yeah, it's... Who knows? I mean, there is a few whispers that the Panthers are trying to sack Taylor May prior to the court case. That's going to be hard now he's pleaded not guilty, just from a legal standpoint. Yeah,
look, the NRL no-foul stand-down policy came in. You can't argue against it anymore.
I think the Panthers would have stood him down anyway, though. They had already stood him down. I think the NRL's come in, and I think the Panthers were going to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's before the courts, so looking at, I guess from a footballing perspective only, he'll be missed by the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah,
he really will. But Alamotti comes in, you'd imagine, who Pretty handy replacement.
And he's been great.
Pretty handy replacement. A lot of people were upset when he was moved on from the Dogs, but look, they've got some quality centres there now, so it's yeah. But he'll be good for them. But it's just, does it weaken the Panthers? Absolutely.
Yeah, it takes away some of their depth as well, because Alamotti was that player coming in and filling all the backline positions when someone was out.
Exactly. So yeah, it takes away from their depth. Penrith will still be competition favourite. So
absolutely. Who is their number one contender then, do we think? Because the Chooks are really starting to look like they've got a team that can win a title. The Broncos are going to be thereabouts. The Sharks, and that performance makes you wonder if they're a true contender from last week. Where do you see it?
One of those three, and they've all got their issues.
Yeah, because the Storm has issues with the Munster's health and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so throw the Storm in there. Yeah, so there's those four. I think if Munster can get back for Melbourne, if they could go the front runners. Brisbane, there's a bit of worry that they've conceded 30 points too often. And I'd love to see them against Penrith in a final.
Yeah.
Like, that would be my dream final, to see those two. But I don't think Brisbane are as good as they were last year at this moment. And they need Reynolds back, and they've just got to get healthy towards that back end of the season. If they can get everyone healthy back end of the season, they could assume the best place to knock the best team to knock them off. Cronulla, they'll be rattled by that performance at Shark Park. But again, it could be a big learning curve for them, like a huge learning. Like, shit. Like, I think I remember speaking to Cam McInnes last time they played the Penrith Panthers last year. And he was like, it was a bit of a reality check for us boys about just how far we need to go if we're going to compete with them. So the Sharks will have a lot of learning to do. In terms of the Roosters, again, they played the Panthers without Cleary at home. And again, some big learnings from that.
They were still not in their best form, though, at that point. And I know they lost the Sharks at Magic Round as well, but Joe Manu didn't play in that game, and I reckon they're a different team when Joe Manu plays.
100%. 100%, Charlie. So those are the four teams that, if they can get their shit together, get their form right, could knock them off. I think I'm of the belief the best time to get them would be not in the final. Get them the week before.
The Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna beat them the week before in the the prelim or the qualifier, whatever it's called.
Prelim.
Yeah, the prelim final.
Yeah.
But also know that could fuck you up for the grand final, because it's going to take a monster effort.
You want to be on, you probably, if you want to beat Penrith, you probably want to be on their side of the draw to get them in the prelim. However, the team that avoids Penrith and whoever beats Penrith is going to have a huge advantage.
So one of those teams could get someone else to do their dirty work for them. I always say this, like, it's funny how the league has become, or the conversation has become, Operation Take Down Penrith. And it almost like you might need the Sharks, the Roosters, and the Broncos to work together to just go, we're coming for you, like this triple-pronged attack, and then the Storm just come from nowhere and they lift a trophy maybe. So I'm of the opinion that's how it's going to be done. It's almost going to take two teams to knock Penrith off kilter. I don't know if they can lose in the grand final.
No. I think if they get there, they probably win. Yeah. At least it's not a two-horse race this year, though, because from pretty far out, we could tell, apart from the Broncos, no one's going to be a chance against Penrith.
Yeah, I reckon there's 5 genuine title contenders.
Which is great.
But that's not saying that there's a couple of teams that couldn't, not rise from the ashes, but just really kick. The Warriors, maybe.
Mate, the Cowboys have 6 Origin players. They've got the most Origin players out of any club.
Bananas.
They need to be rising up there.
Yeah. I don't know if they will, though.
No.
So, yeah. If you in a clubland operation, take out Penrith, it might mean a few of you gang up on them. Because, yeah, like I said, I don't think they can be beaten in the final.
No.
They might get a horror run of injuries, and you would never want to win in that fashion. You just wouldn't.
No.
But it's a unfortunate reality of our game sometimes.
Let's preview the round, Jimmy, because there's only 5 games this weekend, and it starts with the Eels and the Sharks Thursday night. Moses and Gutho are back for the Eels, which is massive. They've only got Hopgood playing Origin this year, so it's probably the least they've been impacted by Origin for a few years. It's going to be interesting with those two come back, Moses and Gutho, if they can make a push for the top 8, because they're another team that you could talk about that could rise from the ashes.
Yes, absolutely. They could, especially with Mitch Moses. He'll throw the team on his back. Be interesting to see the response from Campbell Gillard and Junior Borlow this week as well, who I think will be disappointed with not being picked for Origin, and maybe look at this as like, maybe we need to get our shit together. I've seen front rows respond like that before. I think the Sharks welcome back Rudolph and Hamlin Welle as well, from memory when I read the team sheets. So it's a big battle up front for the Sharks. That's where and especially without McInnes as well. And obviously no Dale. I've just got a feeling Parra could get them.
They're both back, and Braden Trindle's back as well.
Yeah.
From his stand down that he was.
Trindle's a huge inclusion to offset the loss of Hynes. I don't know, I've just got this feeling with Parra and Moses and that little bit of like magic he can, again, speaking kicking games.
At Combank as well. They're so good at Combank.
I want to go the Eels.
I like it. I'm going to go the Eels as well. Also, just when you talk about Toby Rudolph, he's actually starting a podcast with your man Jeremy Lattimore and also James Maloney. You've done an interview with James Maloney that comes out Sunday.
And the Professor.
One of the great hosts of sport.
Could be very interesting.
It's going to be very fun. They're going to record it here as well. So
yeah. What do we edit, distribute, produce?
Yeah, commercialise, all that jazz.
Yeah, all the jazz. Do all the socials.
Ladbrokes have kindly jumped on board with them as well to start their show off. So
look, I don't know if I'm looking forward. I'm interested to see how those personalities go.
We are recording the first one today, so it comes out Thursday. Just search The Journeyman wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah. It's called The Journeyman with James Maloney, Toby Rudolph, Jeremy Lattimore, and the Professor. Long title, lots of names. Yeah. Name order. I wonder if that will offend anyone.
Have they put all the names in the title?
Yeah.
No, they have.
The Journeyman with,
Really?
And Lattimore third on the list. Do you think that's fair? Or do you think the Professor should have been third?
What's the list?
The Journeyman with James Maloney first, which I think that's fair. Multiple premiership winner.
Yeah.
Then Toby Rudolph second. Yeah. Current superstar of our game. Funny man. Jeremy Lattimore third. Yeah. And the Professor comes in at fourth.
Ooh.
The thing about the Professor is he should be ahead of Lattimore due to his, stellar Fox career that he had. He had not only just Fox League shows, but Fox cricket shows as well.
Yeah.
And now he's got one of the top rating rugby union podcasts in the game as well, and a top rating cricket podcast.
It is an interesting one, that, isn't it?
I mean, what's Lattimore, really?
Well, I think I'm jumping on the show.
You are, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that first 10 minutes is going to be like, but it'll be interesting. Maybe I'll bring this up.
Yeah, you should bring it up.
Like fully shit stare and then bail.
Yeah, that would be smart. That's what I'd do if I was you. And also probably bring up with Lattimore that he sends voice notes.
Oh,
like God. He's some self-obsessed middle-aged man fucking detailing his thoughts on the world.
Charlie, you know what? We agree on a lot of things. We disagree on a lot of things. We put a lot of shit on each other. But if there's one thing I'm united with you on, it is anti-voice notes.
Get rid of them.
It's just it's feral behaviour.
It's awful. It's so self-obsessed. You have to record yourself, listen to yourself back, send it off. Just fucking pick up the phone and call if you want to talk to me.
Or text me.
Yeah.
I don't need 3 minutes of you waffling on.
Yeah. It's like, I just want to read what you're doing. I've got to get on with my day.
Yeah, or call me.
Yeah, or call me. Yeah. You're on notice, Lattimore.
I'm with you, Charlie. Yeah. Respect.
Friday night, Knights and the Dogs. Knights have won 4 in a row before the bye. They're sitting in 7th. They've really bounced back after...
Here we go. The Knights have won 4 in a row. And I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it.
They've won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
The Doggies are coming off a big win, but Kikau's out, and he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So I think the Knights are favourites and they probably should be
I think they are
favourites.
favourites, yeah. Geez, that Armstrong kid's a good player.
Great player.
Like, we talk about the players missing when Origin comes along. Well, Trey Fuller's back in for the Dolphins. How good is that? Armstrong obviously doesn't need to come in because Ponga's he's out injured. But, mate, like, this kid has been sensational. What a delight he is to watch. His 3 tries at Magic Round. He's a real feel, not just a feel good story, because there's loads of them where it's like, oh, this is a good story, but it's like, hang on a minute, the kid can play as well. He backs it up. So I've really enjoyed watching him. I think the Knights have really changed their style since KP suffered that injury. It'd be interesting to see when he comes back how much of that style they keep. But for me, the Dogs have been. They've got a really good system there, so I can see this being a battle, like a real battle, one for the purists going up against each other. But the Dogs will get the win.
I'm sure they will.
Well, they smoked them last time. It was actually this game.
This game was they after this game they've gone on the 4-game win streak. Again, another team playing the team for the second time, and we're in round 13. Such a stupid draw sometimes.
Oh God, yeah, it's like 5 weeks away.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the Knights get the win. Just on David Armstrong, how good is the depth of fullbacks though, just across the board? Like Keanu Keeney's like Titans 4-string fullback,
mate,
and he comes in there and he dominates against the Broncos.
Show, didn't he?
Yeah, Trey Fuller, like you said, David Armstrong. It's great to see. Saturday then, the 5:30 game, just 2 games this Saturday. Panthers against the Dragons. Both teams are depleted when you look at those rosters. I mean, the Dragons when you take Ben Hunt out of that team, that roster does look very weak, in all honesty. And Lomax is obviously out. Jaden Sewer's out as well for them. And the Panthers, they already had injuries, and now they've got 5 guys playing Origin, but they're very depleted. Yeah,
well, I think the Dragons have made some big... I think Flanagan's dropped a couple of people as well. I think Mika Ravalawa's been dropped, and in comes the Figai twins, one to replace Lomax, one to replace him.
Sione Finau on the wing, but both the Fagai brothers are in. One's playing centre, one's on the wing.
One's replaced Baird, one's replaced Lomax, So Flanagan obviously felt like he needed to make changes. But look back to the first half against the Dogs. They were really good. Jack DeBellin, he's apparently not wanted by the Dragons. He made a statement to say, come and keep me in the NRL.
Captain this weekend for them as well.
Congratulations to Jack. He obviously... had a lot of time down there at the Dragons with him, so good on him. Big step, and obviously a bit strange with the club apparently showing no interest in keeping him there.
Yeah.
This is a funny game. Penrith. Don't know, like Mitch Kenny, Leota, and Fisher Harris. They just got to have massive games, don't they? They've got to have massive games. But geez, like look at the players who aren't playing. Like the 3 main spine players: Cleary, Luai, Edwards. Who's playing fullback?
Dane Laurie. So you got Dane Laurie at fullback, Jack Cole 5'8". Schneider's named a halfback. He's come back from an injury though, so he could be touch and go whether he plays. And then I think you might see Mav Guy come into the halves.
Really?
Like that's the little options they have.
Far out.
Like all their names in their reserve squad, except for Luke Summerton, I don't even recognise their names from this 20-man roster.
Oh, you can't back against Penrith, can you? Like it's this system.
I think they get
and
the
they
win.
coach.
It's at Penrith Park as well.
Oh right, yeah, Penrith.
Yeah. And then Saturday night, the Dolphins against the Raiders. Dolphins still hanging in there in the top 4. They probably will be a bit disappointed that they lost the Warriors, the position they were in. How do you see this game going? Raiders?
Yeah. The Raiders don't have anyone in Origin.
Just Hudson Young.
Oh, Hudson Young, yeah. Who's massive for them. But Dolphins, no Hammer, no Kafusi because he's 18th man.
No, is he 18th man? Is he Kafusi?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, remember? Yep. Oh, you obviously didn't listen to Jam and Cheese, did you?
I did. I listened to the whole thing.
Well, what did she say about Kafusi?
I can't remember. You expect me to remember? 2 days ago.
It was pretty insightful what he said.
Yeah, what did he say?
He said that he'll get the 30 grand for match payment.
Oh, okay. That's good.
You sound like that's the first time you just heard that.
Wait, I'm not like listening, but like completely absorbing everything that happens. Some of it's waffle,
Is
and it
it?
doesn't go in because some of it's waffle.
Well, Yeah, Kafusi can't play because he's 18th man.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Good
But
to know.
he gets 30 grand.
That's pretty good.
I think, is it 30 grand Origin or 15?
No, it went back to 30. Went to 15, back to 30.
Yeah. But no, I think the Raiders should have enough to get a victory.
Last game of the round then Sunday afternoon, Roosters against the Cowboys. And as like we just spoke about before, the Cowboys have 6 Origin players, 5 for Queensland, 1 for New South Wales. It really does make what they're producing week in, week out disgraceful.
Questionable. I was going to say disgraceful from Charlie White, not from me. Now, the Roosters at home, obviously with their Kiwi contingent, Englishman Victor Radley and Dominic Young.
And Teddy's playing for them.
Teddy's playing, Sam Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should.
Joey Manu.
Cheese.
Joey
Manu.
Yeah. They've lost Angus Crichton and Joseph Suoliti. Luke Keary will play as well because he's 19th man.
He's 19th.
Am I missing someone else? Spencer Leniu, obviously.
Yeah.
He's going to be out as well. But they got depth in that middle forwards anyway.
Nahafu White was
He's a gun.
bloody good on the. He missed a couple of weeks. I think he was just through depth. He's a very good player. He was outstanding against the Raiders.
Well, mate,
his post-contact meters, like he doesn't know when he tackled. He's really good to watch. He was impressive. So yeah, Roosters should have enough against the very depleted Cowboys.
Yeah, because even like you think like Nat Butcher was rested last week. He comes back in for Angus Crichton. Siwa Wong joins the bench for Egan Butcher, who's unfortunately done his ACL, so he's out for the year. But it's just they've got so much depth.
Yeah, they have. All right, that's about it, Charlie.
That is about it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Good to see you, mate.
I'm just going to not look at your eyes and just look slight about 3-4 inches above.
Thanks, mate. You're a really kind friend. I appreciate you.
You look all right. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week.
See ya.